The plot is just a one-liner that tells us about what is happening in the novel. Prose, it is not anything related to rhythm, rhyme, nothing like that. It has a fixed grammatical structure. The theme is the basic idea on which the novel is built upon. It can be romance, it can be love, lust, money, tragedy, or anything like that. Good morning to one and all. Let me introduce myself to you. I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. I am here to introduce the syllabus to you in this session that is prescribed by University of Mysore for the third semester of B.B.A. So today we'll be understanding about the syllabus. Okay, so what is prescribed for you in this semester? So that we are going to understand in the syllabus first. Then what is a pattern of evaluation? What is the way in which the questions will be given? What will be the way in which you will be evaluated? So that one we are going to understand. So next comes the pattern of question paper. So what will be there in your question paper? What is it that we have to be ready? That is, how do we get exam ready? So that we will be understanding in the pattern of question paper. Apart from that, we'll be also understanding few terms. Okay, so the most important terms that we have to be very familiar with. Okay, so that is the prose. Okay, then the poetry. Then we have few literary genres to understand. Also, along with that, we'll be learning few elements of a novel. Okay, since we have to understand a novel in our upcoming sessions, we have to understand the elements of a novel most importantly. Okay, so let's begin. We are all going to be geared up now to take off to the third semester BCom. Okay, so let's begin. So here at first, the syllabus prescribed for you is the unabridged text of The Financial Expert. Okay, so The Financial Expert is a novel written by Mr. R.K. Narayan. Okay, one of the greatest authors of India. Okay, so we have the unabridged text. Unabridged is there is no cutting off, there is no censor in any part of the lecture, any part of the novel. Okay, so the whole text is prescribed for you, so you have to read the whole book. Fine. After that, we have one word answers or one sentence, or you can answer in a phrase also. Okay, so we have that. Then we have description of a situation. So there will be a situation given to you wherein you may have to explain it, okay, in your own words. Fine. Then we have this character sketch. So you have to deliver the readers the characters. Okay, you have to portray the characters in your own words. Okay, so read the novel, you have to write what and all you have felt about the character. Okay, so at last we have the essay type answers. Essay type answers, it's long answers. Okay, you will have to write maybe 1 or 1.5 page content for this type of questions. Okay, so altogether this is one part of the syllabus. Okay, so unabridged text, that is one part of the syllabus. Okay, so after this, what else is there? What else do we have? So we have a language component also. Okay, under this language component we have various things. It's completely about grammar. Okay, so language component refers to grammar completely. So here we have to identify the adverbs. Okay, yes, this is a very interesting part of the the session, you can say. Okay, so here the identification of adverbs. You have to identify the adverbs and one word substitution based on the text. Okay, so one word substitution based on the text, that means you have to read the text, that is the unabridged text, and from there we will be choosing, we'll be giving you questions about one word substitutes. Yes, I'll be briefing you about everything. Okay, all of this will be briefed to you in the syllabus session. So next we have the construction of sentences with each of the given words. So we will be choosing words from the text and giving it to you. You have to make your own sentences. Okay, doesn't that sound very easy? Yes, isn't it? So you have to frame your own sentences. Okay, then we have this active and passive voice. Little cranky. Okay, active and passive voice, if you understand clearly, it is very easy. It's just like a cakes walk. Okay, So active and passive voice also you will be understanding. At last we have this reading comprehension of an unseen passage. This you have been doing from ages, isn't it? So you have been doing it probably from grade 1. You have to read an unseen passage. You have to read some passage which is not known to you. Okay, that is just to test your understanding capacity. Okay, so you'll be reading an unseen passage and you have to answer the questions that are given to you after the text. Okay, it may be you may have to answer in one word, you may have to answer in a phrase, or you may have to answer in one sentence. Okay, so that's all about the syllabus what we are going to face this year. Okay, so now let us now understand the pattern of evaluation. Okay, after we learn all this, how are we evaluated? What will be the marks that is graded? So here C1 we have, that is credit 1, we have this test or assignment for 10 marks. Your teacher will be giving you a few questions for 10 marks. Okay, so next we have the C2 also, that also is given by the teacher itself. The person from you have already learned. So these two are purely internals. Okay, that is in hands of your teacher. At last, this is the question paper that comes from the university, and here we have various that is the question paper pattern is slightly different. Okay, here you may have to just answer 1 or 2 questions. Okay, or maybe some language component questions you may have to answer for 10 marks, but here it is little different. So what is it? How is this? How do we do? What do we do over here? So that's it. So what do we have in C3? Okay, we have this comprehension questions. Comprehension questions is like you have to read the text, that is the unabridged text you have to read, and from that 15 questions will be given. Okay, 15 questions will be given, and out of that you have to answer just 10. Okay, all these 15 questions will be 1 mark questions. Okay, all these 15 questions will be 1 mark questions. You have to answer it in a word or a phrase or maybe a sentence. Okay, word, 1 word, phrase, a group of words, sentence, a complete sentence which gives complete meaning. Fine. This is the first main that you're going to face. The second part is the short notes. Okay, short answer type, wherein 8 questions will be given. You have to answer just 4. Okay, this may be a character sketch, or it may be a situation wherein you have to explain. Okay, the university might give you a few questions wherein you have to explain some situation. Okay, so that you have to explain. Out of 8, you just have to choose and answer only 4. Okay, and that is for 5 marks each. Altogether, you'll be getting 20 marks. Fine. Next, then we have this essay type questions. Okay, so 5 questions of 10 marks will be given, wherein you have to answer only 3. 5 questions will be given. You have to answer only 3, that is each 10 marks. Okay, so it's essay type question. As the name says, you have to write long answers. Okay, you have to write long answers, and you may have to write maybe a page or 1.5 page. Okay, so it's good that you read the whole novel. Okay, so that gives you a hold over the content wherein you can just play with it. Okay, if you go through the whole content, it becomes like a child's play for you. Okay, so this is about essay type questions. At last, we have this language component. Okay, language component, we have it for 20 marks. Altogether, we have it for 20 marks. You'll have questions about adverbs. You'll have questions about active and passive voice. Okay, as I said, the grammar portion will be completely here. Okay, so this is all about the pattern of question paper that you're going to face. Okay, as a whole, English is very easy. Okay, only thing is you just have to master it. Okay, so that's it. So now let us move further. Okay, we will have to understand few terms that we have to be very much familiar before we start our journey to the session, to the semester. Okay, so what is it? What are the terms that we have to understand? What are the terms that we have to be very familiar with? Okay, let's begin now. Few things I'm going to tell you generally. Okay, few things I'm going to go in particular. So first we are going to begin with prose. Okay, prose. It is not anything related to rhythm, rhyme, nothing like that. It has a fixed grammatical structure. It's a written form. Okay, it has paragraphs in it. So all these put together, it becomes a prose. Okay, so it like a few examples of prose I can give you, like novels, short stories, essays, letters, everything, whichever you write, okay, all those come under prose. All these come under prose. It actually has a fixed grammatical structure. There is a defined grammatical structure, that is paragraph. It can be paragraph. It has to be complete sentences. So this way there are so many specifications for a prose. Okay. It follows actually natural patterns of speech and communication. Okay. Natural pattern in the sense, it does not, like, we are not going to write some imaginary, we are not going to put rhyming words and all over here, and we are not going to follow any meter, nothing like that. Okay, it is going to be naturally written. Okay, like I'm speaking, the same way it is written. Okay, so that way. Then we have a specific grammatical structure, as I said, and sentences and paragraphs are there. As I said earlier, it contains sentences and paragraphs. Okay. Then we may use, the author may use the everyday language in order to write a prose. Okay. So when it comes to letters and articles or anything, we may use everyday language. Okay. We may have to be professional sometimes, so our language might change. Okay. So as and when the situation changes, we may have to change our language also. Okay. So that's about the language that we use over here. Then sentences and thoughts, they actually continue across the lines. Be it a dialogue, be it among the paragraphs, everywhere the thought flow should be continuous. Okay, so this was all about prose. Now we move on to poetry. So poetry is actually the most beautiful form of literature because it has to, the words which we are using there have to be chosen with utmost care. The themes what we choose, and according to the themes we have to choose the words. Okay, so we have to be very careful when we put across the words. So we have to keep in mind so many things when we write poetry. Okay, so those are the things make that poetry great. Okay, so as I said, it's the most beautiful form of literature because you can even add tune to it. You can make it into a song. That's why poetry is great, you can say. So it tends to be, as I said, the most beautiful form. So let's now understand the four main genres of literature. Okay, so to begin with, we'll begin with the poetry. As we have seen, the poetry, fiction, non-fiction and drama, these are the four main genres of literature. So to begin with, let's begin with poetry. Poetry is, as I said before, it's the most beautiful form of literature because you can add tune to it, you can turn this into a great, a piece of literature. Okay, so poetry actually contains, the poems, they actually contain stanzas. What do you call a poem? Okay, you call something a poem when there are rhyming words in it, when there is meter. Meter, what is it? Okay, you're not going to measure it with the meter, centimeter or anything. Meter is nothing but the number of words which you use in a sentence. I mean, in a line in a poem. Okay, so it has so many specifications like meter, rhyming words, rhyme schemes. Based on rhyming words, you mark these rhyme schemes and all. Okay, so there are so many things to learn in poetry. So based on those specifications, you call a piece of literature poetry. Okay, so then comes the fiction. Fiction, actually, we are understanding the imagination of the author. Okay, so that is called as fiction. It is not real, it is completely the imagination of the author. Okay, we are reading the imagination of the author that is put into words. That is called as a fiction. Fiction contains characters, setting, plot, theme, all these, but it does not contain rhyming words. It does not contain any fixed number of words in a sentence, nothing like that. Okay, so it just contains a fixed grammatical structure and it is completely imaginary. Okay, that is called as fiction. Then we have this non-fiction. It is actually factual. Okay, it is real, it is factual, it contains lot of things, lot of substantiating documents that can be included. While the author writes a fiction, he has to include all these. Okay, so non-fiction has to be factual and it has substantiating documents in order to support the views of the author. So that is non-fiction. At last we have this drama. The written form of a play is called as a drama. It is all set to be presented on the stage. It has dialogues, it has monologues at times. Dialogues when two or more people talk to each other. Monologue is something wherein only one person will be talking in soliloquy. Okay, so we have this drama there, wherein it also has some props that have to be used on stage, some properties that can be carried. Suppose somebody is performing a drama on stage which has a story of a king. Okay, so therein we have to include some props like the throne, things that are used in the court of a king. So all these are used in a drama. Okay, so this is all about the 4 genres of literature that are very important in order to start our journey to the semester. Okay, so let's now move on to the next one. So we'll start with the novel. Okay, so the novel is actually you can say it's a fictional prose. Okay, novel can be considered as a fictional prose, and it contains actually 5 elements, the primary elements. Okay, the 5 primary elements it contains. Then first thing we have to consider, the predominant thing is the character. Okay, the character in a novel can be animate or inanimate. It can be sometimes inanimate things can have life as per the whims and fancies of the author. Okay, there may be supernatural powers also that can be considered as characters in the novel. Okay, so that is the main thing. Character can speak the words of the author, or the author might support it, the author might not support it and make it to grow. There are so many kinds of characters, that is round character, flat character, all these. We will be understanding the types of characters when we start our journey to the financial expert. Okay, so as of now, I'm just talking about general words that you have to be familiar with. Then the second one we have is the plot. The plot is just a one-liner that tells us about what is happening in the novel. One-liner summary. Summary is actually very lengthy, whereas plot can be single. Okay, it can be single line. So plot tells us overall what has happened in the novel. Okay, then comes the setting. Setting is nothing but the place in which the novel takes place. It can be a place, it can be a confined place like a library, a school or something like that, or maybe it can be a city also, it can be a country also. As the novel progresses, the setting might change as per the situation. Suppose one setting can be a situation or one scene in the novel takes place in a park. The other scene in the novel takes place in a library. So setting changes. Okay, so that is all about setting, where the novel takes place, where the situation happens. So next comes the style. Style refers to the writing style of the author. Okay, it refers to the writing style of the author. That means how the author writes, which language the author uses to write the novel. I mean to say, I'm not talking about English, Kannada or anything. I'm talking about the style in which he writes, the language, the words he chooses to write the novel. Okay, it can be very simple words. It can be very complicated hi-fi words. It can be dialects of language, what you have, what you'll be speaking. Okay, so various styles the author may adopt when he is writing the novel. So this also we'll be understanding when we start our journey to the financial expert. Okay, so the last one we have is the theme. The theme is a wonderful the element what we are talking about. Okay, theme refers to the theme is the basic idea on which the novel is built upon. It can be romance, it can be love, lust, money, tragedy or anything like that. Okay, so theme actually refers to the emotions of the author. It refers to the human tendencies that the character is experiencing. Okay, so that is all about the theme. Fine. So let us go further now. What did we learn about? We just learned about few things over here. Okay, we learned about the prose, we learned about poetry. Okay, we learned about few literary genres also. We learned about the elements of novel. This is all about the syllabus what we have been prescribed for this year. Okay, so I would want you to go through the text and then prepare and come back. Okay, so let us meet again in our next session, wherein I'll be speaking about the financial expert. Okay, so see you soon, children. Let's meet again in our next session. Okay, this is Shalini signing off. Let us begin our journey happily to the financial expert. See you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.